Oh, what a phenomenal week of NCAA tournament volleyball we had. The regionals are set. Checking in again. Happy Monday to all. This is Six Rotations, or Tuesday or Wednesday, whenever you're watching. He's Mick. I'm Daniel. As always, brought to you by SNA Sports, better equipment for a better game. And Mick, 15 of the 16 hosts advanced and not without some drama. The top seeds all kind of roasted their way into the regionals. Cal Poly, the lone unseeded team, and it's the first time in the new format, starting in 2022, that an unseeded, which means, you're not in that top, I guess, seven seeds, advances through the regionals stage. And we congratulate our four winners of our giveaway that we did to guess how many unseeded teams or unhosted teams would advance. And we've got Kate, Steve, Elizabeth, and Hal that guessed
Wow.
15 of 16. Pretty good, Mick.
Yeah.
All overall, the chaos started on Thursday with six five-set matches. There were only four five-set matches in the entire first round last year, and we had six on the first day. We did jump back in and do a bonus episode. So we're checking in again with you that joined us over on patreon.com/sixrotation. So if you want to do that, we're going to check in midweek again this week to do a deeper dive into the regional matches. Maybe we'll pop back on as well on Friday like we did last week. But Mick, we've got to start with the top story. USC, the one host that couldn't quite advance, maybe only was given a host spot because of the geographic reasons. We talked about that. USC versus Miami. Miami had that tough task of going to Kansas. We talked about how tough that would be. And when it all kind of wrangles out, we've got a really fun regional and a lot of really good teams that are going to line up. And we get to start Thursday at 1 o'clock Eastern with Creighton and Arizona State. And, how do you want to approach this, Mick? Do you want to talk a lot about last weekend? You want to tease this upcoming week? Where did you see, let's start Cal Poly and kind of what they brought to the table to knock out BYU and then USC. The Mustangs are reigning high right now.
Well, Cal Poly certainly played a fun two matches. They were really geared into going for it, not worried about losing. They came to play, and the underdogs can come and play like that. That's why the first two rounds are dangerous. Before I weigh in on that, though, I'd like to say this about the first two rounds. The fun part, and you mentioned that you enjoyed this, is how close some of the matches were.
Yeah.
The bad part for volleyball purists is they weren't clean matches. And that's why they were so close. The matches were not clean, and they were some error-prone situations. There were teams like SC who gave up 6 points in a row, stuff like that in the tournament. Those are killers. That just takes you out. And so to get to the various matches we're going to look at, the Cal Poly weekend was really good, but BYU lost one of their primary players mid-match. And I think that had a big effect on Cal Poly being able to sneak ahead of those guys and win. Now, saying that, eight of 10 of the Big 12 teams are out after two rounds. And that is significant, which means that you have to look at that conference a little bit and say you got 10 teams in, but only two teams get to the regionals. What happened there? Even though they weren't seated in the top 16, you really have to look at that a little bit. But not to take away from Cal Poly's effort, because they get up big. SC can attack on the left side. For some reason, both the left sides couldn't terminate a ball. And the freshman setter was going nuts trying to find a place to score. She went to the middle. They scored well in the middle. They ran three middles through that match, SC did, and all three of them scored. The transfer from Oregon was most successful, coming in for McGinnis midway through that match, really sparked SC to get back into the match. They win the next two games, two sets. It's now 2-2. They go into the fifth set. Cal Poly says, "We're not having any of this," and their jump server, and you have her name. She really brought the heat. I think ran six in a row there in the fifth set. It was 8-2 before SC knew what happened.
Yep, Kendall Bashir, who had the tremendous match against BYU. Cal Poly picked off, two of those teams. And, the whole year we weren't really too high on BYU. But what Bashir did in that match in the first round with her 25 points, hitting over 380 and 12 digs, and the 12 blocks. And we thought, all right, the question is, can the Mustangs bring the block total and keep that going against USC? And they did. They had 10 blocks, and USC allowed the 12 kills for Bashir. But then Emma Frederick, who was a player, funny enough, when I was working at Cal Poly, there was a lot of buzz about this incoming freshman the year that I left. And it's now Emma Frederick who leads the squad. But let's go ahead and do a little bit of wraparound coverage here, because I think some of the storylines that led the way were it's a year, Mick, of 30 kill performers. And again, this weekend, we got to see it from the start with Flor Marie Heredia Cologne in the first match. And then you saw Rockman Chick with Baylor do it as well in the opening night. We talked about that over on our Patreon on Friday. So you can kind of jump in over there if you want to hear Mick and I really dive into Thursday's matches. But then Ava Martin picks up 30 and Brooklyn DeLay with 30. So four different players had 30 or more kills in round one. That's kind of one of the top stories.
And Chacon was very close with, I think, 27 at
Yeah.
Louisville. Yeah.
Yep. And how about that Louisville, right? Marquette looked like they were in full control. Louisville survives the Golden Eagles in 5 sets. Texas A&M, they are matched up with Louisville now this upcoming is that Friday? Friday. And what Texas A&M had to do, Mick, were you starting to think, hey, we're seeing a little bit of deja vu here. TCU takes that first set. Strong start from Evan Hendricks. What did you see from A&M that saw them kind of creep back in?
Well, I thought they're more confident now. They lost to TCU during the season. They actually had a weekend where they played
5. Yeah.
SMU, lost in five, played TCU, lost in five. They went home 0-2, and they were ranked in the top four at the time. And I said at that time, no one wants to play TCU in the tournament. Well, A&M got locked in against TCU, and I thought it would go five. I really thought TCU lost their steam somehow in the middle of the season, couldn't quite come at Texas A&M the way they would like to, but they still battled and made it a heck of a match. And I thought it would be close, but A&M is going to be a tournament team, so I think we should put a star by A&M and watch them. Louisville is going to have trouble with A&M.
I couldn't agree more. Not to mention, you have to go and play in a ruckus environment like Lincoln, where you thinking Nebraska fans are going to be supporting of Louisville? I think they're going to be a little bit more on Texas A&M side. But Mick, that couldn't have been closer than going five, because TCU was right in that fourth set. Let me see if I can pull up the exact score here, because we are sitting at 24-22 TCU, and they're 2 points of cushion to force a fifth set. Stowers gets a kill. Then you have a brutal error by Lauren Murphy to get to extra points, but it's given right back. Becca Kelly, gives that opportunity there on the block, and as we see Texas A&M creep closer, it was that error right by Becca Kelly at
Yeah, yeah.
25-24 that was really standing out here. And Hendricks got TCU another set point at 26-25. Then Kazakh Paula came up big with the block. And what's that height difference, right? Like 5 inches over Evan Hendricks. And you could see it on the broadcast. And then Kazakh Paula picked up a kill. Lednicki saved another opportunity to give TCU a set point, got them to 28-29. And then it was the Ifana Kazakh Paula ace to win it 29-27 in favor of Texas A&M. That was a tremendous match, and I think TCU's got to keep their head held high. 26 kills from Hendricks. They put it all on the line. And Mick, we've been talking about I'm not going to say the absence of Logan Lednicki over the last month, but she's definitely taken a back seat. She was very much the aggressor here. 51 swings, hit over 300 with 21 kills and 12 digs, and then Stowers with those 19 kills. Those were obviously massive. But are we worried about our prediction that we might get the Louisville Nebraska regional final now? Are you thinking like Texas A&M might be a bit of a favorite in that match?
Actually, I've always thought that. I thought that for a reason, because I think that's the one place that Nebraska can lose in this tournament. And so when you were saying the Nebraska fans might be rooting for A&M, I don't think so. I think they're going to root for Louisville because I think they beat Louisville. But I think they have a heck of a match with A&M if that turns out to be the way it is. And really because of the speed of the A&M offense, and if A&M's able to pass the Nebraska serves and stay in system, they're going to get many more one-on-one situations than A&M has been used to seeing from the opponents because not only have they served them out of their situations, their double block has been extremely well. Their blocking's been good all year, and they've kind of counted on that. And if A&M can find those seams and open that up, that might change the course of the match.
Yeah, and then Louisville, we talked about Natalie Ring, right? Midway through the
Yeah.
year, Marquette, 29 kills, hitting 324 for Ring, and she just could not get it done. Louisville had a massive second set, won at 25-11 to even the match. Then Louisville took a 2-point set in the third, but Marquette battled to force five, and it was pretty neck and neck until what, like the swing at eight, I think it was 8-6 or something. And the addition of having more swingers for Louisville could be the difference because you get Blackshear coming out of the right side, and then Chacoin and Peterson on the left combined for 47 kills. I'm really excited. I think that might be the marquee match of the upcoming regional semifinal slate. And so let's go ahead and kind of walk through what we've got here. And of course, with that, we can talk a bit about Nebraska. They're going to face Kansas to finish off Friday night. And what Nebraska and all the one seeds did, Mick, is dominate. There's no two words about it. We saw Texas dominate, we saw Kentucky dominate, and at the end of the day, I think Nebraska, they didn't necessarily hit 400, right? Like we saw from who's the team that broke the record? Darn, I'm gonna have to go deep into. Oh, SMU. SMU hit 618 in their first round match against Central Arkansas. Mick, that breaks the record for the history of the NCAA tournament. Penn State in 2012, the best team of all time, hit 587 in a match, and that was the record. And SMU has just broken that record. But Nebraska kept Kansas State in a vice grip the entire match there in the Devaney Center. We saw not a block parade, only 5 blocks from Nebraska. They only hit 250. And yet, I think that's a good display of a team winning ugly that has won pretty all season long. And a team that wins pretty, Mick? Wisconsin. Wisconsin against North Carolina was an example of pure excellence. Mimi Collier hit 22 kills, hitting 405. And did you watch that third set? UNC was right in it, forced extra points. Mimi Collier steps up big. They were able to win that third set 27-25. And now Wisconsin, Stanford, Kansas, Nebraska, Indiana, Texas, Texas A&M, Louisville, all 4 matches on Friday are like chef's kiss.
Yeah, I think it's great watching. I think the volleyball will clean up also. I think you'll see much cleaner matches, but I think the pressure's on now. And if you thought the pressure was on the first 2 weekends, and that was why we weren't seeing as much clean volleyball, I think now you're going to have to play clean if you're going to win.
I think Wisconsin Stanford is going to be a situation of availability because Logan Park's unavailable in the first 2 matches for Stanford. The Cardinal did drop a set against Arizona, but Taylor Yu looked like she was in full control, Mick. She had 53 assists in that second round match and the win for Stanford. But I think that you'd be foolish to say that Stanford is a favorite against a team like Wisconsin that's playing so hot right now. And I would be surprised, I think, if Wisconsin Texas wasn't a coin flip because that feels like one of those regional final matches, Mick. If Texas gets by Indiana, of course, that's a noon Eastern time start. Do you think that start time, 11 a.m. for the Texas Longhorns, might hamper them on Friday afternoon or
I
morning?
think it'd be hard on both teams. The reason I say that is there's a certain amount of time that players get ready to play. And at this point, they're going to get up in the morning, have a quick breakfast, and they're going to be into focus mode. And they have to go, there's not going to be much time. So I'm thinking 6 a.m. they're up. That only gives them 5 hours before match time. It gives them an hour to have some food, get ready, get to the gym. Then they've got a 2.5 hour prep, which is usually some game film and that sort of thing. And then their routine in the locker room, and then an hour for warm up. and then the match starts. So you think about it, there's not much time to have any nerves. You're just trying to get your pants on and get ready to play.
So I'm going to go ahead and provide a counter argument to that because as a Miami Hurricanes football fan, texting in the group chats all weekend long, Miami somehow gets into the college football playoff, Mick, and they are going to be able to play Texas A&M at noon 11 a.m. Eastern on that Saturday, the weekend of the Final Four in Kansas City. But Mick, if you're Indiana volleyball, you're thinking the same thing. You are happy. You do not have to go into Gregory for a nighttime environment where the fans are riled up and they've been standing around and they watched another match. No, you want to just punch Texas in the face at 11 a.m. Central, 12 Eastern for the Indiana kids. I'm telling you, I would much prefer to play that first game. You're on the road. You're not going to have to worry about, oh man, like what are our pregame routines? Like, no, you're on the road. So you're in a road environment. I'd rather play right off the bat. You don't want to sit around and watch Wisconsin Stanford. I'd be very happy if I'm Indiana. And, speaking of Indiana, they were able to limit our girl Anna Barilovich to 19 kills. She hit under 240. There was really a block presence that was there for Indiana with those 11 blocks, held Colorado to just two. And Jaden, Jager is a stud. But the thing is, Candela Alonso Corcelis is the best player that we haven't talked about this season. I think there's no doubt about it that of all the players that we have avoided the name this year, she's been the one that stood tall. 16 kills, one error in the second round win for Indiana. So will there be an opportunity for the Hoosiers to quiet down Tori Stafford? That's going to be the X factor, right? The what do they call it? The straw that stirs the drink for Texas. Stafford is grooving. What did you see from Texas in that second round match?
Well, I thought them be unrelentless with the serve. I thought their offense was clicking. I thought their blocking alignments were very good. They didn't give Penn State a chance, and they took them out of the match. So I think the Longhorns are ready to play. And as far as Indiana, I don't think Indiana can score enough points to beat the Longhorns. Unless the Longhorns don't play clean, then Indiana could get in there. But think about this. Is there anybody on the Indiana team that could start for Texas?
That's a good question.
And so when you look at the matchup, you start saying, okay, this kid for Indiana may be really good, but could she start for Texas?
But
And
was there anyone on Cal Poly that could start for USC?
oh yeah, there were the
Okay.
server for sure, and
Yeah, Bashir. So the
yeah,
thing is, Texas had a dream draw. They played a horrible Penn State team and absolutely took them to the woodshed. Penn State didn't reach 20 points. They had 9 points in the second set.
yep.
Texas had five attack errors in the whole match. So the thing is, Indiana will be their first quality opponent here in the tournament. I'm just going to go out and say it. I don't think Penn State, I don't think BYU, these are teams that we have been low on over the last month, just not up to the snuff of teams that can
That's
qualify.
absolutely right. That they couldn't score enough points to win. We knew that coming in, and Martin could not carry them. Texas just loaded up the block on her, and she did fine, but she couldn't dominate because they put so much pressure on her. And neither of the left sides for Penn State could score. Same thing happened to USC. Neither of their left sides came to play. And it's just very unfortunate. But honestly, I don't think Penn State's left sides are up to it. So I think they have to upgrade there if they're
Indiana,
going to get
yeah,
back in the hunt.
the Indiana question will be big. And the thing is, I think they've got to just catch them by surprise. 11 a.m. Again, I'm going to repeat it. 11 a.m. local time. That is early. Texas did
Well,
not get any benefits by that draw, I think, the timing.
I think you might misread the cards here on whether people are going to show up in Gregory Gym. I think it'll
I'm not
be
talking about the
packed and
crowd. I just mean
they,
in terms of like the body clock and just the atmosphere. Now, maybe you're right. Maybe Texas fans will show up and it'll feel like a night game and it'll bring all that energy. Obviously it's a weird scenario when you get to choose, right, Mick? The coach gets to choose whether you want to go first or second.
oh, is
Coach
that
Buck,
true?
I
Is that
believe
true?
so because Nebraska's going second. So Danny Busboom Kelly
Interesting.
and her staff decided we want to go second. So Texas A&M Louisville is first, and then Kansas Nebraska. On the other side, Indiana, Texas is first. I think as a coach, I'd probably want to go first
I
because,
would too, because
yeah,
the waiting around just kills you. I hate being the second match. I have to tell you that. Of course, I'm not a player.
yeah.
I haven't really asked the players, but for me, it's just agonizing.
So it's interesting the way that it's flipped on the Thursday schedule. Kentucky goes second, and we're going to break down the Thursday matches now too coming up, but Pitt goes first. And I do think that for the most part, the Friday slate for the one seeds is a lot more enticing. Texas, Indiana, Nebraska, Kansas. Overall, I don't see any of these one seeds slipping in the regional semifinals. I think the regional finals will see the one seeds. The question is, who will they face? Because I think Creighton, Arizona State is a coin flip. And that's our first game, 1 o'clock Eastern from Lexington, Kentucky. So I think Lexington is on Eastern time, but you can't quote me on it per
They
se.
are
Yeah.
Eastern, yeah.
So that's a 1 o'clock local time. But for Arizona State, Mick, that's an 11 a.m. start and a noon for Creighton. So like that's where I'm trying to put myself in the mindset of these body clocks. That's an early start for Arizona State. Arizona State, they blew out the fourth set against Utah State, but they dropped that early, and it looked like Utah State was going to be that team that comes in and just runs rampant because they had an awesome first round match. But Bailey Miller, Naomi Glover combined for 40 points, and Bailey Miller hit over 450. And so in that setup, Creighton looked like the team in the first round that was going to go down. And we thought, oh my goodness, is Creighton going to lose? And then the second round comes after Creighton you know, gets all the storylines and they drop the first 2 out of 3 sets against Northern Colorado. Ava Martin gets the 30 kills. Northern Iowa is becoming the story of the tournament early on. They get a reverse sweep over Utah, and then Creighton at home in that environment just silenced Cassidy Hartman and Lily Dykstra and that Northern Iowa attack, and Creighton won that in 4. And I think we haven't talked enough about Creighton's setter. Because what Annalie Mader did, the senior from Switzerland, is she spread out the attack in that second match of the weekend. Ava Martin only had 16 kills. We saw Reinhardt have 10 kills with 1 error in the middle, and 4 different Blue Jays, Mick, had 10 or more kills. If we see Mader in full control, I think Creighton is a team that is probably the likelier of the 3 seeds, right? Because you've got Creighton, and then you've got Purdue over SMU, Wisconsin. I guess you call Wisconsin likely. I think you know what? I'll take it back. All the 3 seats look like they can be in full control as well. This is going to be a really fun weekend, Mick, because I think anybody could win on Thursday and Friday in those 3 versus 2.
Yeah, well, I have it. I have Stanford over Wisconsin, and
Even
I
without
think
Parks, if Parks doesn't
well,
play.
I think Parks maybe has to play for that to happen. But I just think Stanford's block and they block the back row attack better than anybody else in the country right now. So that is not good news for Amy Collier because she actually hits out of the back row better than she does the front row, especially on that middle attack out of the back row. And if Stanford can put that block up and slow her down, then Wisconsin has trouble scoring. And that's why I think Stanford has the nudge there. I also think SMU over Purdue is absolutely going to happen.
Yeah,
Uh,
SMU is looking like a juggernaut right now.
yeah, they're hot and that sort of thing. And I think Minnesota can give Pitt uh, maybe 4 game match, and if they're lucky, get them into a 5. But I don't think they can beat them.
I don't see that. I don't see that at all. I think Minnesota got a really nice draw out.
Yep.
Iowa State was tested by St. Thomas in a match that I thought St. Thomas actually outplayed Iowa State in, but Rachel Van Gorp had that huge 30 dig performance, and then we just saw a tremendous domination by the Minnesota serving unit there. I think Pittsburgh wipes the floor with Minnesota. Pittsburgh had a huge sweep win in the second round. And when you look at all of this, I'm loving that they're all on ESPN2. Every match on Thursdays on ESPN2, and then ESPN gets the Austin regional, and ESPN2 Friday night gets the Lincoln regional. Let's talk a bit about whether Cal Poly has a shot against Kentucky. You think this miracle run continues, or
No,
I
no.
agree. Yeah, I agree.
No, they can't stop both left sides. Kentucky will dominate there. Um, they will have a little trouble with the server, but if the server has to serve being behind all the time, she can't really go up and hit it the way she likes to. That means it takes a little off. That means the pass is a little bit better. I think Kentucky rolls.
24 straight wins for the Kentucky Wildcats. They're a team that is clicking. I would go as far as to say that they may be the favorite to advance to the final on that side of the bracket. And of course, Kentucky may get Texas, they may get Wisconsin, they may get Stanford, but on the left side, I'm feeling pretty confident in Nebraska. And the Husker fans have been patient with us in this episode because similar to the whole season, when Nebraska dominates teams, there's really not that much that we can grab out of that in terms of content. But let's go ahead and preview this Kansas-Nebraska match. Kansas limited Flor Marie Heredia Cologne to just 27 kills. She had 20 errors on 80 swings. Ryan White, did you see what she was able to do when Flor was hitting it? The libero for Kansas. She was everywhere. And the thing is, they don't necessarily have that star on offense. So the only way that I can see them winning a set or more against Nebraska is if Ryan White has a Herculean performance again, digging every ball from the middles, in Jackson and Alec. And Nebraska beats themselves. I think that's the only recipe for success for Kansas. If we could see Pacheco and Swanson kind of carry that with away, but I'm not seeing it, Mick. I'm not seeing Nebraska to fall here. And then what we'll do is maybe on Saturday potentially we'll pop on and do a little bit of a regional final preview for our Patreon subscribers that dives into the grittiness. Because if we get Nebraska A&M, Mick, I think that is going to be a barn burner. I don't think Louisville can compete. I agree with you. I think Nebraska has the edge there. And if I'm Nebraska, I might be rooting for Louisville because A&M is looking very dangerous.
I think A&M beats Louisville. I think Louisville has struggled. They had to get a Herculean performance from the left side that transferred from Purdue.
Yeah,
And
Chicoine.
Jacoin had a wonderful match. I don't think she can do that every week. She and Peterson many times trade off, but both of them producing like that in the same time hasn't been one of their good points. Cressy's been playing great for Louisville, but I just think they can't probably stay with A&M, and A&M's going to cause them terrible problems with their fast offense.
Well, that
So
needs to be a block. That needs to be a block performance. I think the only way for Louisville to win that match is if they can put up 15, 16, 17 blocks and really quiet Lednicki and Kazakh Pala early. And then the last one that we didn't really break down, you talked about SMU and the amount of success that they can have from the middle and what we're seeing from Anyanwu. And then you add on to Malaya Jones on the right side. And what Purdue does is not flashy. They are just really, really secure from the back row. Ryan McAleer and Mick, I've got a list here of all the Kansas kids, and it's more than you think because as we sit with a Kansas City Final Four, you've got Brooklyn DeLay from Topeka, Kansas, Ryan McAleer and Ava Martin, and then Logan Parks for Stanford was the Kansas Gatorade Player of the Year from Overland Park. And Skylar Pierce, who was actually one of the first student athletes to reach out and follow six rotations in the very beginning, back when she was like a freshman in high school. Skylar Pierce was a fan of our show. So I root for her as well, coming off the bench for Nebraska. She's also a Kansas kid. And I think I'm going to say the same thing. Kansas and Purdue have the same road to success for me. They've got to have an unbelievable match from their libero. McAleer's got to be superb against Anyanwu and Jones. And then can Kenna Woolard have that 35 kill match? That's what they're going to need. It's got to be a heavyweight fight against SMU. That's going to be late night in Pitt. And Mick, I think that goes 5. I'm going to say right now, I think that we have one match on Thursday that goes 5, and I think it's Purdue SMU.
really, you
I
think
just
that?
can feel it. I'm putting myself in that same seat I did before the tournament when I said, you know what, Georgia Tech UNC, can you just close? I mean, UCLA, can you just close your eyes and see Georgia Tech UCLA go 5? I can close my eyes and it's 10 p.m. Eastern time, 11 p.m., right? And I'm watching Purdue play SMU on Friday night in the 5th set. I can see that happening. I don't see any of the other ones. I don't think I think Creighton is going to take care of Arizona State in 4. I think Kentucky and Pitt will sweep, and I think SMU will win in 5. And then Friday, I see Texas and Wisconsin in three or four for Wisconsin. Texas will probably win in three or four as well. I could see A&M Louisville going five as well. So I'm going to go ahead and put in two five-set matches. I want you guys to email us at sixrotations@gmail.com. How many of these eight matches will go five? And the winners will get a giveaway, of course. And we do specific giveaways to our Patreon subscribers, so you can join us over there. Mick, what are you thinking? Are you
Uh,
agreeing, disagreeing? Walk me through your guesses.
I'm not in agreement.
Yeah,
I think one of the teams that we need to find out if they're real or not is ASU.
yeah,
I think ASU. I just feel for some reason like they're going to pop their bubble. On the other hand,
yeah.
they could really be good and they could take care of Creighton and give Kentucky fits. And, they have been working. I think they feel like they've been underserved here, that they're the underdogs. They've done everything they can do with their schedule. They've won their conference. They only dropped one match, and yet they can't, and their RPI is 3, and they can't get into the top 4. And so I think there's a motivation there by ASU that might be something that spurs them through this regional and gets them and maybe gets a 5-game match with Kentucky, because Glover is a world beater. I mean, she can
Yeah.
get as many kills as anybody else out there. They just have some, and Miller's the other one. Great arm on the left side.
And Glover was perfect last week. If we
Oh
had
yeah.
a six rotation team of the week, Glover would be my right side. 17-0-32.
Yeah.
I mean, that's stunning. That's against Utah State.
Yep.
Creighton, maybe puts up a bigger block, but I agree. I think that anything can happen. I'm really excited for all the madness, Mick. It's going to be a lot of fun. Again, we won't pop on here on YouTube until next week, but we're going to jump on, our bonus episodes kind of whenever Mick and I want. We're just going to be like, hey, we'll text each other. Let's go jump on for 5-10 minutes. Let's talk about it up. And you guys can be surprised and keep tabs on bonus apps.
My 5-game match would be A&M and Louisville.
There it is.
I think
You think
that's
just one,
5
just
games.
one five-setter out of the week?
Well, I don't know about the others, but that's one that I think Louisville just makes you play until you either beat them or they win by attrition. They're just going to run you out of the gym. They're going to fight until you put the dagger through their heart. And A&M, and if what you say is right, if you say that Louisville has to have 18 blocks or so to win, A&M's offense is the hardest offense to play against and get blocks, dual blocks. They get one-on-one situations because A&M runs so fast that I think Louisville will have trouble having a block party.
All right, there you have it. We'll chat with you all again when we have four teams left and we are packing our bags for Kansas City next week. I hope everyone enjoys the regionals. For you Patreon subscribers, we'll pop on there, patreon.com/sixrotations for some bonus episodes here in the Christmas season. As always, he's Mick, I'm Daniel, and this is Six Rotations.